Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to give people just a few minutes. We had almost a couple of hundred people sign up, so we're also going live as well on LinkedIn. Let me just turn my video on here. Can everyone see me? And in the chat, just let me know, can you see me and hear me? And also, if you're watching me live on LinkedIn, just in the comments, let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me. Love, love, love for you to turn your cameras on if you're able to. I know many of you are at work because LinkedIn is the career website, platform of interest. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder and CEO of WealthyU. And we really focus on first generation high earning women and helping them turn their income into wealth. So today's presentation is going to be all about you and all about sharing many of the concepts and the insights that are based on real life examples. And also many of the insights that you are going to hear are in my most recent book, Wealth Secrets. So I'll be sharing with you how I discovered those wealth secrets and along with some insights, hopefully that you'll be able to go to apply, because that's what this really is about. So I think we're live. I think everyone can hear me and they can see me. Just in the chat, just acknowledge, if you will, that you can hear me and see me, and we're going to get right into it. Why can't I see my chat? Oh, there we go. Okay, awesome. Okay, so awesome. So, LaShonda, it's good to see you, or not see you, but know you're here. Dion, great to see you as well. And so you can't see me on LinkedIn. I'm watching me on LinkedIn. So I think you'll need to go on I'm actually I'm broadcasting though. So welcome everyone. Welcome. LaShonda, I know another LaShonda. I thought you were actually one of our members. So that's awesome. I'm glad you turned your video on. I do see there are a couple of members in here. Felicia Lawrence was right here for one of my other sessions and then joined. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens. I'm founder and CEO of WealthyU, where we focus on helping first generation high earners turn their income into wealth. And so today I hope to get to know you. I'm going to get right on into this presentation and really be respectful of your time because I know everyone's busy. So just briefly, a little bit about myself. I mean, I've been in the investment industry for over 2 decades, and through that time, really, what can I say, was exposed to a lot of information that I believe many first generation high earners aren't. And so I was a former vice president with Fidelity Investments. I went on to spend my career with a lot of consulting and then other financial services company. And then I launched WealthyU, all with the goal of really sharing what I now call wealth secrets, but really it's the insights and knowledge that if you aren't born into wealth, that you probably didn't receive. Because I think the greatest insight that I've learned through my journey is that the knowledge that I'm going to share with you today typically is inherited, and you do not learn it through your formal education. So I'm the author of 4 critically acclaimed books. My most recent book is Wealth Secrets, and I hold an MBA. But all I want to tell you is that the most important things and the most valuable things I learned have not been through my formal education. So after, I want to know who's in the room. So if you could just introduce yourself, what do you do if you want to divulge that, and where are you from? If you could just post that in the chat or in the comments section as well. I am absolutely looking at the comments. So hope that you'll give me a sense of who you are and where you're from so that I can give you a shout out. Hey, Felicia. Yeah, give me a sense of where you're from. Are you from the West Coast? Are you from the East Coast? Are you in California? Are you in New York? I'm in uh, what we call the DMV, District of Maryland, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia area. I am right in Maryland right now. But hello, LaShonda from San Antonio, Texas, and Rolanda from Aurora, and Jatiqua, okay, in New York, but relocating to DC. Hey, that's right. Felicia's right here in Maryland. So keep those coming. Well, first of all, I certainly have a formal presentation, but I'm more interested in why you decided to attend this this seminar. Why did you, what did you hope to learn? Because of course I have a formal presentation, but I want to double click on those things that are really of interest to you. If you can post what you hope to learn in the chat, I'm going to be looking at the chat, so I will definitely make sure that if there's something specifically that I can double click on, that I will. So, hey, Vanessa, the Pyatt Group in Baltimore, excellent engineering and construction firm. So you're like me, you're an entrepreneur. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I want to and know that you are in the right place. And LaShonda says, I want my money to work for me through investing, where you're absolutely in the right place, because that's what we do at WealthyU. Staffing me today also is one of our WealthyU ambassadors and member success advisors, Anita. So if you're looking at Anita, she's going to be there to support me. Natalie says, I want to make sure we are doing everything we can to make the right money decisions. Well, Natalie, you're in the right place. And not only are you in the right place, but you are actually a member of WealthyU, and I'm grateful for that. So all I want to tell you, stay until the end, because I love giving things away. And the people who stayed until the end, they usually get all the goodies. So just know I want to make this be of value to you, but I also want you to go away with something. So before we get started, I want to ask you this one question. And for those of you who've been here before, you cannot answer. But I want you to tell me, what is your highest monthly expense? If you could put that in the chat, What is your highest monthly expense? Okay, Rolanda says your mortgage. Let's see what others. You guys agree? Is it your mortgage? Is it housing? In some cases, I know some of these cars are outrageous. Denise says her mortgage. Okay, good. Let's keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Okay. So first I want to get into, Dion says rent, right? So housing typically is what we believe is our highest expense, and mortgage for home and commercial property. Okay, excellent. Highest expense. You look in every month and you look at, and in fact, it's right at the first of the month, and many of you are paying a lot of these expenses right now. Okay, so I want to get into who this webinar is for. Why did I create the first generation webinar specifically targeting first generation high income earners? Okay, so you could be this archetype, the overachiever, that you high educational attainment, you went and got your BA, your MBA, you checked all the boxes, college, career, you're going on the management track. You may be involved in your sorority, your alumni association, maybe you're a committee chair for some association, maybe you're even an industry rock star, and that's why you're on LinkedIn watching me right now, right? Perhaps in many cases, sometimes overachievers can be risk averse. Maybe you're a conservative investor and you're in a pretty high tax bracket. If I described you, put me in the chat, if that's you. Okay, I wanna look at this chat. So, okay, Denise said, me times 30. Okay, excellent. All right, and I know you're in the right place. Perhaps you're a corporate trailblazer. first generation postgraduate. Mean not only do you have that BA, but you might have an MD, you might have an MBA like me, you might have a JD, you could have a PhD. If I described you, maybe you're a senior manager, a director, a partner, and that education, you invested several $100,000, so you may even be sitting on student loan debt. Perhaps even you feel like you should have more in retirement savings relative to your earnings. And because of debt, you could even have a negative net worth and be in the highest tax bracket. If that's you, put me in the chat. Okay, maybe you're even a late bloomer that like me, I left the corporate fast track to start a family, and I decided to stay home for work-life balance. I even used some of my retirement savings to start WealthyU. When I went back into the workforce, I started at certainly a lower salary, and it went up pretty quickly. And then once I started my business, I went beyond what my actual income was, even through an employer. But the problem is when you wait longer or you come out of the workforce and you're not contributing in a plan, you may have inadequate retirement savings. If that's you, put me in the chat. And perhaps, and you could be, let me just tell you, you could have attributes of all these archetypes that I'm showing you. These are women that I've encountered in WealthyU. So perhaps you left a corporate career with cushy benefits to start your own business. Perhaps first you were even consulting as a solopreneur. You're trying to create the same financial security as a business, as a business owner, and your old employer plan might even still be sitting at your prior employer, and you have no clue what to do next. Oh, Vanessa, that's great. You started your business after retirement. That's awesome. That's a great, and we see that more and more. In fact, I was having that conversation with quite a few of my friends. Well, here's what I want you to know is that many of us, myself included, were given the wrong blueprint. What I want to say to most of you is because of our lack of knowledge in many cases, if we had the insight that I'm going to share with you today, you would already be millionaires and financially independent. And how do I know that? I know that because every day I sit down with someone, and because they didn't have the knowledge of how the financial markets work, how to do proper asset allocation, how to analyze and evaluate the performance of their investments, they had lower returns overall, so their money is not growing. And so that's the question I have for you. Do any of you feel like you should have more assets and more wealth based on your career and the amount of earnings that you have? If any of you feel that way, put me in the chat. Because what I want to share with you is something that I discovered fairly happenstance, but then it was like, wow, is this by design? And so the picture, it goes back to really the blueprint that my mother gave me. And she wanted me, the picture on the left is my mother, and she is 18 years old, 18 or 19, and she had recently gotten married to my father. And she dreamed of the day that as parents, they could achieve financial independence. And me, and well, not financial independence, really lived the American dream. She was the daughter of a sharecropper, grew up in Alabama, and she dreamed of the day when her and my father could create a life for us that they'd always dreamed of. And so the American dream for them was migrating from the South. My father went into the Navy, and she had and he promised her they would see the world. And they did. He went into the Navy, first child born in Washington, D.C., second child born in Honolulu, Hawaii, but they actually settled in Detroit. And they had 3 more children. And I'm their youngest child. And by the time I was, my siblings were much older than me. And by the time I got to their incomes were a lot higher when I was born. They were solid middle class. And so there was ballet, there was a private school, there was making sure that I went to college. There were all the things. And what I was told was get a great education, great career, make 6 figures, and that was the American dream. If you can relate to that, if that was the blueprint you were given, put yes in the chat. Did your parents have a dream for you, and were you told that the more education you would receive, that the more income you would make? And that if you made it, even in the comment section, for those of you who are on LinkedIn, I'd love for you to comment as well. Were you given that blueprint? Well, that's the blueprint I had followed until just by chance, I found myself working in the investment industry, having a pretty fast trajectory, which exposed me to high net worth clients. And that's where I learned that I had been given the wrong blueprint. And you see this journey, first I started at Merrill Lynch, went to Fidelity Investments, was a financial consultant, went into management training, and then went on to manage the West Coast for Fidelity and became a marketing leader as well. And that really put me in rooms with high net worth families. And what I learned was that they were given a different blueprint than I was given. And as a result of that, their money grew much rapidly. They paid less in taxes, and they didn't start out trying to figure it out the way I did. They had intergenerational wealth, and most of the knowledge of how to build that wealth, how to keep, grow, and protect more of it has been passed down from generation to generation. And so what I discovered, and that's what I'm going to share with you today, is that the billionaires, the rich people, they understand how to leverage tax laws, how to leverage our capital and financial markets. And as a result, they pay less in taxes. And how many of you have ever heard Warren Buffett talk about his secretary pays less than taxes than he does, and he thinks that is unfair? So you look at Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, Elon Musk. Why are their tax rates so much lower? Why are they able to keep more of their earnings than the average middle-class American? Anybody wonder that? If you wonder how they're able to do that, put me in the chat. If you wonder, or you can just put yes. If you're wondering, why do they keep more of what they earn, and why do you have to pay higher taxes? Right? Okay. That's right. So here's the point I want to make. I'm going to go back to that question that I asked at the beginning of this session, and I would submit to you that your highest bill every month is taxes. It's just you don't see it. You know, it's a given. And in many cases, you're saying to yourself, here's April 15th. How many of you have done your taxes? That's what I want to know. How many of you have done your taxes? And you send those, if you've done your taxes already, put me in the chat. And when you give your information to your accountant tax preparer, the only thing you're worried about is not having to pay Uncle Sam, that you had enough taken out of your paycheck, so that you don't have to pay Uncle Sam. If that's you, put me in the chat, right? Like, I just don't want to have to pay. Please, please, let me make sure that I take out enough. The wealthy don't think that way. They have Felicia said, did my yesterday. I don't owe. Hallelujah. But what if you could keep more of it? And so here's what I want all of you to understand is the wealthy aren't interested in putting more in, taking more out of their check. They're more interested in not paying as much at all. And so I just want to say to you, if you could keep 20% more of your earnings, don't you think you would have more discretionary income to invest and save? If you could pay less taxes, would you have more? Yes, yes, yes. And so what I want you to understand as a first generation high earner is how the systems work. And I also want you to understand is how I discovered these secrets, right? So, well, not true. I discovered these secrets and then I wanted to tell everybody. But the most important thing I learned from being around high net worth individuals is that they have an owner mindset, whereas we have an earner mindset. So we think if we can just earn enough that we will achieve financial independence. But what wealthy and high net worth individuals understand is it's not earning, it's owning. And so when you own assets, you are at a more tax advantaged position. That's what I want all of you to understand. And so I find out these secrets and I'm telling you, oh my gosh, I've been given the wrong blueprint. So has everyone else. So I want to go out and tell the world. And so I take quite the journey to do it. So Fidelity was wonderful. They really were my first advocates in telling these stories. And they sponsored my first radio show on WOL in Washington, D.C. Kathy Hughes gave me my start. And then I went on, I said, okay, it's not enough to just give information. I said, let me capture this in my book. So I was approached to write a book, and my first book was Confident Investing, a Wealth Building Guide for Women. And from there, I was approached by Bishop Jates, people to participate in his God's Leading Ladies Tour, Confident Investing. Man, we sold out of books. And I thought, surely this is the way to get the right blueprint to that and the secrets that I discovered. And then I went on and I wrote my second book. We launched it. We had a public television special. A Purse of Your Own was my second book. And in that book, I thought, okay, here's how I'm going to get these secrets given to others. I am going to have in the last chapter of the book, I asked women to start purse groups, and purse groups were where 5 to 10 women would get together. They learned what I call the 7 wealthy habits. Those are the wealthy habits of high net worth, wealthy individuals, and they would apply it. Well, 1,400 groups started, but all of them disbanded. And here I am, and I'm thinking, surely I'm on CNN, I'm promoting this A Purse of Your Own campaign. Surely, this is what I needed to do to convey this information. But it wasn't until at the urging of my son, who said, you know what, mother, you can write all the books in the world, but people don't need information, they need application. And in launching WealthyU, in the past 7 years, what we've been able to do really is to develop the right blueprint and share these wealth secrets with others. And now hundreds, now thousands of women are building their first 6- and 7-figure investment portfolios and are learning these strategies. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And so that blueprint, this is the blueprint that is in my new book, Wealth Secrets, and really there are levels to it. The first of it is a financial awakening, actually understanding that you've been given the wrong blueprint. The second level is learning how to accelerate your financial growth. And then finally, it's how you not only create wealth, but you create intergenerational wealth. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. And so first I had to say, I had a hypothesis. Could this work? And this is Belinda. Belinda's in my Wealth Secret books. And when I met Belinda, it was by starting that purse group. And she was one of the first women in the purse group that I started at my church. And what I learned was that she was 20 years into her career and she just felt like she wasn't on track with her retirement savings. When she looked at what her personal rate of return, so a lot of times you're looking at the returns on different investments, but you don't really know if you're getting that return. What she learned is that she had been put in some fairly low risk investments and that her money had not been growing. And so once she joined WealthyU, she learned how to analyze her portfolio, increased her rate of return, achieved 7 figures in her retirement savings, established a brokerage account, established a backdoor IRA, and created an estate plan. And one day I got this text and it said, now I know that I am one of those with a 7-figure retirement account. And so that was the beginning. And now what I'm going to share with you, how when you apply the strategies that I'm going to share with you today, how you can take ownership of your financial success to accelerate your financial growth and really understand the difference between being an earner and an owner. What I want all of you to understand is that it's not enough for you to increase your income. What you have to do is learn how to keep, grow, and protect more of it. So if that sounds good to you, put yes in the chat. If that sounds good, yes in the chat. Because my goal is to create hundreds and thousands of first-generation high earner investors, it's not about the money. What I want you to know, the most important thing that you learn, it's the knowledge of how to build wealth, right? Like that is the most valuable asset. It's not the money. And your ability to not only acquire this knowledge for yourself, but also be able to transfer that knowledge to your children, to your family, because that's the point. That's what I discovered, is that the knowledge of how to build wealth is inherited. It is not taught. Okay. And so that's the journey. And I'm going to just share with you a little bit about, I said, if you stay to the end, that you're going to get a gift, and you absolutely are. But everything that I'm sharing with you are the true stories of women who applied this blueprint. And that's when they got a different result. And many of them, what they had been applying for 20 years and how much that they had accumulated, in some cases, moved by 30 to 40% in just a few years. Now, a disclaimer on that. Certainly, the market is reaching new highs. It was down 500 today, down 300, but that's not of significance in WealthyU. What is of significance is that you learn how to turn your income into assets. And one of the other things I want to share with you is many of these same women are going to be at an event that we're hosting in National Harbor in the DMV area, but you can also attend virtually, and that's another opportunity I'll talk about a little later. So what do? We teach first-generation high-earning women tax-advantaged strategies that help them turn their income into wealth, and there is a difference. In my book, Wealth Secrets, there are 7 fundamental wealth secrets that are applied throughout the Legacy Wealth Blueprint, but I'm going to double click on one, the first one, and it's the most profound. And it can have the greatest impact in your ability to actually accelerate your financial growth, keep more of what you earn, grow it, and protect it. And it's making this one shift from earner to owner. This is what the wealthy know that we were never taught. Now, that shift from earning, where you're simply, for how many of you feel like that's been your pursuit, that if you could just get to 6 figures and then maybe you could get to 1.5, and then you could get to multiple 6 figures, that has been your objective. If that's you, that earning more money has been the major objective, and you feel like that is the way to achieve financial independence, then what I want to tell you is you have the earner mindset, and I did too. That is the same blueprint that my parents gave me. But what the wealthy know is that the way our system is set up, it is set up to incentivize certain behavior. And if you conduct that certain behavior, if you apply that behavior, you're going to get a benefit. And so this chart, when I came upon it, I said, this describes it, right? Here is these are the biggest tax breaks from 2016 to 2020. But what I love about this chart is what many people don't know. The second biggest tax loophole is tax cuts on dividends and capital gain. Now, why is that? That's because, and that's exactly why Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, because most of their income comes from dividends and capital gains. And as a result, they're taxed at a lower interest rate. They're taxed at a lower tax rate. And so what I want all of you to know is that as individuals, you can take advantage of this too. Now, many of you are. Oh, that's interesting. I always wonder if it's worth investing because you have to, but listen, that's a great question, Jatikwa, but your earned income is the highest. Your earned income pays the highest taxes. Dividends and capital gains are taxed at a much lower rate. Not only that, but when you're working for income, right, it's immediately taxed. When you're investing and putting your income into assets like real estate, like stocks, like mutual funds, that is how you take advantage of the tax laws, because that is how it incentivizes ownership of assets. Those capital gains, those are the things, right, that you pay less in taxes. So it's not how much you make. It's how much you keep. Agree or just disagree with me? I just want to make sure everybody's following me. Because fundamentally, this is the most important thing you need to understand, is that it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. And yes, risk is incentivized. So are there any guarantees when you're investing in assets like stocks or real estate? What I would submit to you, that's right, Felicia. What I would submit to you is that in the short term, anything can happen, but historically, assets like stocks, like real estate have outperformed any other type of investment. And real estate, its real return is not necessarily just the appreciation on property. You get other benefits. And so this is the most fundamental thing I want all of you to understand. And that it dawned on me as I began to look at where our high net worth clients, how they positioned their assets, right? So the difference between an earner versus an owner means here, all of your income is taxed, right? So you pay your taxes and then you get left over. As an owner, you turn your expenses into deductions. And so you get to take these and write it off, and then you pay taxes on it, right? So you get taxed on your gross, here you get taxed on your net. Now, here's the other thing I want you to understand is I'm not by any means saying that everyone should become an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur myself for over a decade, I would tell you is not for the faint of heart, right? But one of the things that I found really interesting in a statistic that I recently read, and it said for women and women of color specifically, those who became financially independent and made it into what they call high net worth status, which is investable assets of $1 million or more, they had these two things. Many times they were earners and they were owners. But what I want you to know is the other way you can become an owner is through an investor. So one of the things you can do if you're an earner, is you can become an investor, and you can move more of your income into stocks that will allow you to get capital gains benefits, stocks and real estate. But real estate has an even greater benefit in that you get to offset that appreciation and that income with depreciation and amortization. I'm not going to get into the technical aspect of it, but this is what the wealthy do. That's all I want you to know. The strategy is moving this to either here or here. Is this making sense to you in the chat? Let me know. Let me know if this is making sense. Put yes in the chat. Because fundamentally, this is the most important thing that I want you to understand is you've got to move this over here. And anyone can do so. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do so. So I want to share with you examples of women in my book who've done just this. So this is Dia, first generation high earner. She'll tell you that, her family didn't know really about how to invest. So demanding career, wife and mother, and her first objection to me before starting WealthyU was, how long is this going to take? Right? Plus, she has significant employer benefits, and many of you do, that you're not taking advantage of. And she thought managing investments would be time-consuming and complex. Well, after joining WealthyU, and you can actually, Dia will be at the event that's coming up. And if you want to hear her story in person, just a remarkable woman. So after joining WealthyU, she identified the investment, what I call investment opportunity levers, which many of you have. I mean, some of you are literally standing 10 feet away from gold, but because you don't understand how to leverage it and you're fearful of losing money, you stay paralyzed. How many of you can relate to that? Can you relate to that there are things that you should do, but you're fearful that if you act on it, you could lose money? Do any of you feel that way? If you do, put yes in the chat. Just be honest about it. I mean, I talked to, thousands of you. I've coached thousands of women, and I will tell you, fear of loss is the greatest risk. So this is another, she's in my book, Stacy. Jatiqua says, yes, definitely, right? But what I want you to know is you get overwhelmed, and there's so much out here. No question about it. So Stacy's in my book, high earners. When she joined WealthyU, she has 6 figures in student loan debt, low investment returns, no investments outside of her 401k, high tax liability. After joining WealthyU, we actually have another expert. She wasn't a member of WealthyU, but she ended up starting her own business. She's in my book, Second Secret, Using Your Superpower. And she's helped women in WealthyU have over $1 million in student loans forgiven. So once that was gone, analyzed, optimized, and maximized her and increased the returns on investment, established a brokerage account, and built a stock portfolio. And she's a great example of someone who's an earner who also started a business with her husband. And this is Kim. Kim, an amazing woman. In fact, she is a managing partner of Open Venture Capital. However, when I met her, Kim had not had an extensive investment portfolio. She had invested through her employer, and that's how I met her. Her and my daughter worked for Under Armour. I came there to give a financial wellness presentation, and she felt like she should know more about stocks. She was already a real estate investor. After joining WealthyU, she actually launched Open Venture Capital, had so much confidence around investments and investment thesis. She established an investment portfolio. She created a program to help women and learn how to invest in real estate, of which she has great expertise. And it actually taught that in WealthyU, and she established investment portfolios for her children. So I'm not going to belabor these. Most of these are in my book. And if you stay to the end, guess what? You're all going to get an ebook. Okay. But I'm also going to put a little more fizz in the game for you guys. Okay. So here's what I want you to know. Here are tax advantage strategies for high earners. Okay, so most of you know that you should have an emergency savings account. And that's sort of what you hear from all the personal finance gurus. But I want you to know that you've got to take it up a notch. And it's not just you cannot save your way to wealth, ladies. I want you to write that down. Okay, you can't save your way to wealth. You have to learn how to use tax advantage strategies. So for many of you, you have health savings accounts through your employer. That is definitely something you want to take advantage of if you're with an employer and they offer that opportunity. But the easiest path to financial independence for most people, whether you're with an employer or not, is through employer-sponsored retirement plans. Basically, that's the options that most of you have, but you're not fully taking advantage of it. So what I want you to know is you can't just contribute up to the employer match. And you can't go on autopilot and just say, I'm going to pick the fund at the time I'm going to retire. You must learn how to analyze, optimize, and maximize those investments. So after you max out your 401k, whether or not you should do a Roth or a regular 401k really depends on how much income you're earning. And so I want to encourage all of you, there's some great tools out there. Bankrate.com has one where they allow you to put in what your earnings are and determine whether you should have a 401k or 401k Roth. Next, what many people don't know is you may make too much income if you already have an existing retirement plan. You may make too much income to deduct it, and you may not be able to contribute to a Roth. But most people can make a non-deductible IRA and then convert those into what are called a backdoor IRA. And if you're over 50, you get the advantage. That increase in 2024 just went to $7,000. But I'm not going to get into the real details of it. What I am going to tell you is that this is minimum of what you should be doing. And then you need to be taking advantage of your employer sponsored benefits. So in the chat, tell me, how many of you work for a public company that have employee stock purchase programs or employee stock options programs? How many of you? Well, Shonda says yes. Listen, many of you are like giving money away because in those plans, they allow you to purchase the employee stock at a discount from what they are on the market. So at minimum, you should be taking advantage of that. Okay, so here's what I want you to know is that the number of 401k millionaires has more than doubled in the past decade. But the reason for that, here's what they have in common. They're putting in, the maximum now is 23,000. If you're over 50, the maximum is, now it's 33,000 if I'm not mistaken. I need to update this chart. But what I want you to know is some of you, how many of you feel like there's no way I can put the maximum in? If that's you, put yes in the chat. There's no way, Miss Owens, I could put the maximum in because I have bills to pay. Okay. See, I know you. I relate to you. What I want you to know is either you pay yourself or you pay Uncle Sam. So what I want to encourage you to do is maybe you feel like you can't do it right away, but I want you to make your contributions increase over time. So that first blue line, and I'm using an 8%, this chart is an 8% average annual rate of return. So at 8, even at 50, so many of you are younger than that. I can tell, I'm looking at you, right? So, so just look at this as 20 years, right? You may need to save, but the longer you wait, the more difficult it's going to become. But even if you're 50, you can get to $1 million. Right? Now, even if you're just putting in, now this is you're contributing $30,000 a year. But let's say even at $1,000 a month, which is $500, that's the green line, you get to $500,000. If you use IRAs and IRA catch-up provisions, you can put those two together. The most important thing I want all of you to know is it's important that you get started. Now, I told all of you, if you stayed to the end, guess what? If you registered on Zoom, we have your email, and we have a list of those who attended this webinar. If you're on LinkedIn and you didn't register, then in the comments, I want you to put ebook. Just put ebook in it, and I'll know that you watched the program and you stayed to the end. Okay. Now, here's the other thing I want you to know is that in the Wealth Secrets book, this is the journey every one of the women took in order to accelerate their financial growth to 6-7 figures and beyond. The first thing is understanding that they have to make the shift from earner to owner, and that's the financial awakening. The second thing you have to understand is it's not how much money you make. And I'm going to tell you, I have watched women begin to, it's like the blinders have come off, where they've been so risk averse, what I call playing not to lose, that many of them would already be millionaires. And that is based on the knowledge of how to invest. So I want to encourage all of you to look at your personal rate of return. Now, historically, even in an index, a stock index fund of stocks has averaged 10%. What I know is what many people discover is their investments are performing way below that. But what is critical is that you learn how to understand investment performance. You learn how to analyze, optimize, and maximize those investments that many of you have in your retirement plan. But again, because this knowledge is inherited and no one ever taught you how to tax advantage strategies, how to analyze, optimize, and maximize your investments, you don't know how. And so the thing that I know is true is most of you are losing money. So here's what I want you to know. If you want a transformational wealth blueprint that provides access to these high net worth strategies, and you want to take advantage and learn how to do this, then you're going to love what you're going to hear next. So the first thing is that if you'd like to take action, let me just, if you just take a picture of this slide, you can set up a wealth ignition session. But what I'm going to also, timing is everything, right? And timing right now is we are about to have what we haven't had an event since before COVID. And since writing Wealth Secrets last year and having all of these phenomenal stories in them, one of the things that I wanted to be able to do was to share with all of you how women are, just like you, are going from knowing nothing about investments to now accelerating their financial growth. I really want to invite you guys to participate in our Legacy Wealth Blueprint session. And we just opened a virtual session, okay? Now, here's what's really, really cool, is that if you text 55444, you are going to get access to the ebook, the audio book, as well as attend the Legacy Wealth Blueprint session for, get this, $97. So I'm literally so excited about what I believe is going to be an event that's going to not only are you going to hear from the women in the book and how they actually applied this, but you're going to hear from some other amazing experts Joining us is going to be our keynote speaker is Era Scales, and she is SVP of the National Association of Real Estate Investment Trusts. And the reason that I wanted her to come and speak, because that is how high net worth individuals learn how to take advantage of tax advantage strategies. You can own real estate as a limited partner, not have to, many of you I know may not want to be landlords and Airbnb and all of that, but there are other tax advantage strategies that we're going to be sharing as well. So I'm going to open it up to questions, and I'm going to lead that. So this is all you have to do, ladies. Just send a text if you want to. Just take a picture of the screen. You're just going to send a text to 55444 and enter the word legacy. So you're going to text the legacy to in your text, and then we're going to ask for your information, and then you're going to be taken to an order form that'll allow you to get the bundle. So you'll get to attend live the Legacy Wealth Blueprint virtual session. If you're in the DMV, we've just opened up a one-day VIP pass so that you can attend all day. But the other benefit is you're also going to get a recording, even if you're too busy on Saturday. For $97, you're going to get a recording. You're going to get the Wealth Secrets book. You're going to get the workbook that goes along with it that really is going to share exactly what you need to know and do to finally take ownership of your financial success. And I hope that you will join me. Right now, I want to take questions, though. I want to take questions in the chat. You can put them in the chat if you have any questions about anything that I have covered today. If you also want to learn more about the event, Anita, I'm just going to put the legacywealthevent.com link in there, and you can go right to the landing page. On the landing page, you'll have an option of either getting the virtual session, but here's all I'm going to tell you. That virtual session is $197. So for those of you, I told you I would be giving you goodies. You'll also you'll get to the virtual event for $97 if you use the 55444, and you'll get the ebook, you'll get the audio book. So it's a great package and a great way, I believe, for you to get started. I'm sorry, I think I texted that Legacy Wealth event to you. Thank you, Anita, for posting that. Any questions? I'm interested in what your takeaway is today. What is your takeaway? Out of all the things that I've covered, if you apply one thing that you learn, what would make the greatest impact? What is the one thing? Because I'm going to tell you, that's something that I've learned. Like I speak at a lot of conferences, I attend a lot of conferences, and so often you just feel like, oh my God, I should do this, I should do that, I should do this. But I want to tell you, it's not all the things. It's the one thing. You got me? It's the one thing. Excellent. So LaShonda says, changing my mindset. That's where it all starts. It really starts from you understanding that you can't just save your way to wealth, right? That you have to invest, and you have to learn the strategies that are going to allow you to keep more of what you earn. Once you keep more of it, then you got to make it grow. And then you got to make sure, the next thing is you got to make sure you don't pay too much in taxes, right? So that you keep more of that money. And that's how you get further faster. And what I'm so excited about, Anita, I want to introduce you as well. Anita was one of you Anita, just introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about what you do in WealthyU.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm so excited to be here. It's an honor to be here and to meet all of you. I'm excited for you because I know you learned a lot today. And I just like to say, this is where I learned, like LaShonda said, changing her mindset. Well, this is where I learned how to change my mindset in WealthyU about money and way things work. Because when I first came to WealthyU, I did not understand the allocations. I knew my money wasn't growing. And I would talk to my financial advisor and still didn't understand why my money wasn't growing because I didn't understand the lingo. I didn't understand how to answer the questions because I had limited knowledge and I was trying to put these pieces together myself because I figured I was already in mortgage banking, but that's comparing apples to oranges. It's a little different, right? And so I had to ask for the help. So when I finally got the help, I wasn't just told, well, do this, do that. I was shown how to research stocks, how to research mutual funds, and why my funds weren't growing because of expenses and fees and things of that nature. So just empowering myself and being able to detect something when it doesn't look right, and I'll know why my money, why it's being allocated and how it's being allocated. So it's just so much knowledge here, and I'm still growing and learning, and happy to be an ambassador and success advisor here at WealthyU. And I'm excited to share all the information that I know with you ladies as well. Thanks for being here.
Excellent. Well, guys, thanks so much. That's right. Shatiqua says either you pay yourself or you pay Uncle Sam. That's exactly right. But not only that, I think for so many of us, it's not only the tax part of it. I want you to know that it is also making your money grow more rapidly. My aha has really been how so many people don't realize that their money's not working, but it's really easy to do. This is what I finally discovered. Can I be real with y'all? Okay. Like you're putting money in your investments, through your retirement plan every other week. And so you're in your mind, you see that money going up in value, right? And so you see that money growing up in value. And so you feel like you're doing okay. But what you haven't been able to measure was how that money that you invested, whether or not it was growing. So again, I want to thank everybody for attending today. If you'd like to take advantage of the bundle, that's great. You will all receive an email and a copy of my most recent book, Wealth Secrets, which was where a lot of these insights came from. I really want to encourage you to take advantage of that virtual bundle and get access to all of the knowledge that you're going to get through the Legacy Wealth Blueprint and also the book. And then finally, one of the other things that you will receive if you get the bundle is a wealth ignition session. And that's where I really share with you, help you to determine what is the investment opportunity levers that you need to pull, what is your wealth gap. And with that, I want to thank all of you for joining me here for our first generation high earners. And I hope you learned a lot. And I thank you for your time today. So thank you so much.
Miss Owens, I do have just one really quick question
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
for the Blueprint masterclass session. Is that going to be on Saturday? Is that one day?
Yeah. So it's a 3-day session, right? So it's Friday night, there's a VIP reception. The bulk of everything happens on Saturday, right? So we start at 9 o'clock. I open it, then we have our keynote, and then I'm doing 4 sessions around, you have a workbook, and you're literally going to create your legacy wealth blueprint through that day. So you're going to learn, we actually have a pre-training tonight, and that's really about making the shift from an earner to owner. We're going to do a wealth mindset shift. And then on Friday, there's an opening if you bought one of those packages. But one of the things we have now available is a 1-day pass. And that's starts with breakfast, you know, you have lunch, you know, it's all day and that evening. We have a DJ all day. It's going to be so much fun. So it's not going to be one of those conferences where you're just sitting in your seat. And even if you're watching from home, you're going to have fun. We like to have fun in WealthyU. We love to make wealth building fun, approachable, accessible, and we want you to know that you already have everything you need to be everything you need to be. The only thing standing between you and the knowledge that you desire and deserve, I mean, and the financial success you desire and deserve really is knowledge, right? And that's exactly what you're going to learn if you attend the event. You know, we have all kinds of programs going on. Anita actually teaches our Analyze and Research Stocks class. She went from not knowing to now facilitating. And it's just a great community. Go to my website, WealthyU.com, if you want to learn more about me. If you want to learn more about me, though, you literally can Google and you'll see an open book. All of my travels and my presentations. I speak at around the country. I'm excited. It's Financial Literacy Month. I just thought to myself, Anita, I was like, why did we plan this in April, Financial Literacy Month, when I knew it was going to be crazy for me? So this is one of my busiest months in terms of traveling. I also, if you guys have employee resource groups and you want someone to come in and speak and give programming, I had a fun time with a tech company. I've spoken for Amazon's ERG group, Qualcomm. We simply want to get this information to you so that you can take ownership of your financial success and get further, faster. Shoshana, I hope that explained. If you go to the legacywealthevent.com website, all of that information is there. Or Anita, if you could just put your email if you want to contact us, and we'll make sure that we provide you with any insight and knowledge that you need. So with that, I just want to thank all of you. I'm Deborah Owens, founder and CEO of WealthyU, where we help first-generation high-earning women turn their income into wealth. Thank you so much for joining us today.